Hello and welcome to the Daily Forex Report for March 23rd. We are looking at the US-Japanese yen pair. This pair continues to have very small volume. Did close down just by a little bit today. Still looking for it to pick a direction. It's kind of just been moving sideways over the past three sessions, so we'll have to keep an eye on this one. Potentially hitting some resistance if it moves up to 81.55, possibly hitting support at 79.75. Now let's take a look at the Euro-USD pair. This pair pulled back down during today's session, created a swing trade setup. We'll talk about that here in a minute. Excuse me. We are looking for it to potentially go as high as 142.86, possibly as low as 139.49. Look for some resistance around 141.75 and look for some support around 140.25. Now the pound US dollar pair, this pair closed down during today's session. We are looking for it to potentially go as high as 164.53, possibly as low as 160.79. Look for some resistance around 16300 and look for some support around 161.69. Now as far as the US Swiss, this pair closed higher. It did have a long tail on it, broke below the open of the week, but did close higher. We are looking for this pair to potentially go as high as 0.9187, possibly as low as 0.8922. Look for some resistance around 0.9135 and look for some support around 0.8975. Now as far as news analysis go, we have the European Summit in Brussels that's happening tomorrow. Have to see what comes out of that. We also have the National Consumer Price Index for Japan being released. Year to date, they're showing a move. They're showing a move from negative 0.1% to potentially 0.1%. So pretty much no change in that for the consumer price for March. As far as year to date, that's actually the Tokyo. The national one is showing no move either from 0.0%. So definitely keep an eye on that news announcement. That's being released at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time during tomorrow's session. Now let's take a look at what we're looking at today as far as trading. We have the Euro-USD did create a swing trade setup. Let's take a look at that real quick. Very, very steep line here. And when it comes down to this, you can see that we have an area, basically the next area here of resistance, which would now be support. It's pretty much at that same price, very close, within just 4 or 5 pips of it. So you can't really, it'd be a very, very quick scalp. You could bring it on down a little bit further, make sure it breaks through that line, and then look for it to come down to this point or even down into this range. About 40 pips down, we have some areas here and here of previous resistance, which would now act as support. So it could definitely come down to that point. The fact that it's a pretty steep line is not really attractive to me. I would prefer, it's about a 35 pip move, I'd prefer to go over to the pound actually and look for the swing trade here. We've already tested the low during today's session, this brand new session, so a break below that, since we've already tested it, would be an indication that it's going to move lower. We have an area of support here, here, several areas that show support, a lot more than we had in the Euro-USD. If it does come down and break through that, looking to grab 20 pips to the downside pretty quick. So look for that trade to occur. Another area that you need to look for if you're going to stay in the trade is down to about the 160 mark is our next area that I'd look for a potential exit. You can move to break even at 20 pips and then see if it'll run an additional 40 or so to 1.6160. But we'll just have to keep an eye on this pair and wait and see. Well, that about wraps us up for today. Until next time, this is Jason Fielder. Good trading.